Beyond.
God, what? Beyond.
What the hell was that?
Say the name of the show.
Was that a ghost?
It was a little bit of a jazz for you.
Can we start that again?
No, we started at the minute mark.
No, just say
We
Beyond.
started at the minute. We started at the minute mark.
We start at the minute.
Say the name of the show.
You say the name of the show.
Oh, maybe I will. Backed by popular demand, it's podcast Beyond.
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 Beyond?
Beyond.
Well done,
Beyond.
boys. Very, very nice. Very nice.
We had a poll on Facebook, and
It was a
thousands
landslide
of
victory.
you demanded that we return with the volley of Beyonds back and forth. And
Almost
now
as
here
many
we are.
as Like You Better Than Mitch on Shuhei Yoshida's poll.
That's right.
Oh, poor
Thank
Mitch.
you to Shuhei Yoshida for just breaking that
For
pool
turning
stick
you
in
two
half
against
and
each
dropping
other,
it between my friend and I.
Okay, so this is Podcast Beyond, episode 417. It's sometimes a show about PlayStation. We do our best, darn it. I'm Max Scova. With me is god dang Marty Sleva.
Oh, shucks.
And then the ding dong Brian Altano himself.
Brap, brap.
And an old Rassam Frassam Andrew Goldfarb.
I miss your new, what is it, What's Up Ballbusters? That was that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we say a lot of things to each other on this around the floor of the office in which we work in, which is IGN. Hi, IGN.
What's up?
Anyway,
Andrew has a nice glow to him today.
And it's glow.
I'm very excited to be
pregnant.
doing the show. I really love doing the show with you guys. Somebody actually mentioned that to me recently. It says that it said you guys sound like you're having a really good time in there, and it's true.
Yeah,
We are.
Yeah.
I feel like video games should be celebrated, and you should be able to talk with your friends about them. And if you can't, we're going to do that for you, or you can just yell into your headset on the bus until everyone looks at you like you're weird.
you could also go out to the beach and just scream at the sea. That's what I do.
Yeah, just throw a bunch of.
That's why I leave early on Thursdays.
Scream to the mighty
I've
Pacific.
got a date with the ocean. I got to go.
Yeah, I said the S word a second ago.
Did you? Which
yeah.
one?
I said throw a bunch at a seagull.
Okay, well, thanks.
You shouldn't do that.
Thanks for
That's not a thing.
swearing about ocean life again.
All right.
We've got some news, I guess, kind of real quick. There's been news that there's going to be some post-launch Street Fighter V characters, and apparently a big old leak happened. So if you don't want to know about the fun characters coming to Street Fighter V, cover your ears for a moment. Those characters are Alex, Guile, Ibuki, Balrog, Juri, Urian, and someone who's either fun or a fan.
So these are people data mined the PC beta, and they found audio, like the announcers saying like, "Oh, here comes Ryu," and like these are all in the game. So
That happened with Smash Brothers too, right?
Sounds like every game.
It's
just
so
like
weird.
you have to assume Capcom knows this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
But like they showed during Paris Games Week, they announced they had a joke that like Harada from Tekken was gonna be in the game, but then they showed 6 silhouettes of like the post-launch DLC, and that's very clearly these guys. Like if you look, it looks like Guile. It looks
Now,
like
Balrogs, that mean dragon from the Fellowship of the Ring who fights the
It's not a dragon, it's a Balrog.
No, but he's the Middle Earth version of a dragon.
No, he's a boxer. He was on the original.
No,
the
you're thinking
yeah.
of the man who whips.
I don't
He
know what
whips
you're talking
Gandalf.
about. I think it's always very great that there are always just like weird goblin names, and then there's just like a regular man's name.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin.
Ibuki, Balrog, Chris.
So I kind of hope, I don't know what this fun or fan thing is. I kind of hope that they've got a character who's just like a new character who is just like a fighting game community member who's just like a dude who likes fighting games. Yeah, it's just like
Vincent Janito.
If Vince was in Street Fighter, he would literally just die. He'd be
I love
so
that
happy.
stuff. I love like sort of weird, dumb meta things like that. I also love like at this point, I cannot hold my own in Street Fighter. Like I'll play it if I'm just like having beers or whatever. But it's like a toy line that a friend collects. If I go to a friend's house and I'm like, oh cool, you got GI Joes here, and I'll just play with the GI Joes, and it's a bunch of colorful characters. You bash them together, and it's a fun time. And I'm happy to hear that Ibuki's in there because she hangs out with a raccoon dog, a little Tanuki.
You know who Ibuki? I don't know. I thought Ibuki, Juri, and Urian were made up.
She's got weird sort of.
Urian
She's
is,
got
right?
like sort of. If you could have the pants equivalent of a halter top, that's kind of what she's got going on. And then she's got a raccoon dog that hangs out with her and probably eats a lot of trash. So that's good news.
No, getting older is kind of awesome because you get less you care less about what other people are doing. Like, so when a bunch of people are happy about Street Fighter V, even though I'm not good at it and I don't really play it, I'm sort of like, good for you guys. That's great.
No, it's weird. Like I get that a lot. Like I look around the office and I see Destin like really excited about Destiny thing, and I'm like, oh, you're so cute when you're happy. It's just like, adorable.
Yeah,
like,
it's nice.
I like when Jose comes in and he's like, oh man, they added this cool new update to Mario Maker, and he's just like, his hands are shaking. He's like a kid to a slumber party.
No, that's great. I think
it's fun
there's
seeing people over into it.
one of the most important little images on the internet in this day and age is that little comic that has the little boy and he goes, I don't like thing. and then there's the cloud parts, and an angel comes down and hands him a piece of paper, and he looks at it, and it just says okay.
Yeah.
And it's like I think that's I send that so many times to people because there's like this if you don't like, and people come in the comments on stuff that's like they'll just see a headline and they'll click on it and they'll come in to argue with that headline to be like, I don't like the thing you're talking about here. This game sucks. And it's like, well, then why'd you click on a thing about it?
Yeah.
Well, it's also like if video games are inherently supposed to make you happy and you're mad at other people for playing other video games, you're not playing the good video games yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you were, you'd be happy. That's how that works. That's a whole circle.
You wouldn't have time just to be angry.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't get mad at people for playing other stuff that I'm not into. I get mad at people for playing really bad games.
You get mad at people for weird reasons.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people out there really screwing stuff up.
You got mad at Marty for spoiling that animated GIF earlier.
You got mad at Andrew for showing his knees that one time?
I don't want to see your knees.
You get mad about a lot of weird stuff. I love that you go through these kind of lapses of being positive, Brian, and like
I'm generally positive, Brian, but there's always an underlying.
Yo, everybody, Brian Altano here. It's so good to be here. Brap. Everybody have a positive, good time. Here's a picture of me with Miyamoto. I love my job. It's a great time. It's awesome. And
I woke up this weekend the Gilmore Girls were on.
Who left a cardboard box on my desk? And you kick it, and you're like, stupid babies.
But when you say something really mean, you always laugh immediately after.
I know. That's a good bully tactic.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just kidding, Mrs. S. Sorry. Jeez. We're friends, aren't we, Andrew? So anyway.
Do you think there's given that it's a PS4 console exclusive, do you think there's any chance of getting like a cool guest character?
Yeah, I was really expecting
thinking about
partially
that.
during PSX. I almost expected, or not PSX, Paris Games Week. I almost expected, like a tie-in character or something.
I don't know who would fit, like Delson or like Cole, someone like that.
Maybe. I mean, like that's the thing though. Like they got Link into Soul Calibur, right? So it's like you can get anybody into a fighting game if you.
I mean, they made everybody
Kratos could
work in
probably do it.
PlayStation All Stars
Yeah,
to
exactly.
an extent. It's just like there was something. It's weird. I almost said that game was a little more over the top than Street Fighter, but in a lot of ways it was. Like Street Fighter has weird magical powers and fire and stuff like that, and there's those elephants that have been watching Dalsim punch the same guys for 30 years. But there was something very cartoonish about the way the matches flowed in PlayStation All Stars.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see like Cole or Nathan Drake. I think that could work. I mean, if it was less about Nathan Drake pulling out a gun and shooting people, I always thought that was weird. Of all the like in Mortal Kombat, the weirdest stuff to me, besides the fact that there was dragons and summons, was that like a guy would pull out a gun every now and then. It's like, wait a minute.
Put away Jax.
This is a tournament. Put your gun away.
Put your sidearm.
I like that. Or like just that Kano would just pull out a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, well, what about this? It's a grenade. You're like, stop that. It's not fair.
Why is that robot firing missiles?
No, that's a good question. Who would be a good fit for Street Fighter?
I'm just thinking even like with the art style, it's sort of that painterly, sort of cell shaded
Onion Cat.
watercolor. Onion Cat. Tomba. You think Tomba's gonna come
I
back?
love Onion Cat.
Yeah, Tomba's a good fit for Street Fighter. I feel like
Yep.
that's pretty good. Or that who's the little robot? Sorry, I'm not a big enough PlayStation fan. That little, or it's a cat, the cat one, right?
That's what
What are you saying?
Yeah.
Talking about Toro?
Toro?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Onion Cat.
Yeah. Oh, he's an onion?
He brings like a small like ground gourd with him everywhere that he eats.
I thought you were about talking about Chop Chop Master Onion.
All right.
Like you said Onion Cat, and that was the first thing that popped into my head. I was like, oh yeah, Chop Chop Master Onion.
No,
Chop
that's
Chop Master Onion would be a great
would be
addition to Street
really
Fighter
good.
5.
Actually, any like Parappa character would make sense because it's like that animated style. That would actually be really cool.
Yeah.
like that Moose Cop.
Moose
No,
Cop.
that wouldn't work.
No.
Moose Cop.
Officer Moose.
I do wish the Officer Moose would be in Gran Turismo though, or Drive Club. Okay. That'd be a good fit.
Drop Club Bikes.
It's super realistic, but then it's just a moose. You didn't use your blinker. I'm docking you some points there.
That whole last paragraph sounded like something a 7-year-old would say after he was hit in the head with something.
Welcome to working at IGN, Brian. You're gonna like it here.
I wish the moose could be in the car.
All right, Vita games. Remember how they're not making them anymore? Well, I guess they
JK.
are. What's going on? Fill us in, Andrew. Fill us in.
Yeah, there was a exec at Paris Games Week that said they were not making any first-party Vita games, and then Shuhei kind of backpedaled on that this week by saying, "Oh, well, it's not like we're making none of them. It's just that we're more focused on PS4." And it's weird because, like, at E3 they said there were no big Vita games. They said at Paris Games Week. Now they're kind of backpedaling, and the interesting part of the quote, which someone asked him if he thought, this was all from GameSpot interviewing him in Paris, and someone asked if they thought, if Shuhei thought that it would continue beyond 2016, beyond. And he said he does think so. We have to see. Nowadays, people are excited and using Vita very frequently. It's a great portable gaming system. As long as there is demand, why not? That's interesting to me because I don't know that they're is demand. Like, I don't think this thing is selling super well. But I put together like a short list of just some of the stuff coming that's third party, and there is still a lot of Vita games. We talked about this a little bit last week, but Danganronpa, Lego Marvel, Volume, every Telltale game, like all those series. They just announced the third Zero Escape game, Zero Time Dilemma, Mighty Number 9.
Which is
Severed.
awesome because I'm probably going to play Mighty Number 9 on Vita. That seems like the place to play it.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think of this list, Severed is the most
Severed
exciting one
was
to me.
awesome.
We played it at Melee.
You played it at PAX, right?
Played at PAX, yeah.
Yeah, I played it at PAX last year.
We'll be hearing more about that at PSX.
Yeah, I can't believe that was so long ago.
That was
last
so long
March,
ago,
and we haven't
yeah.
heard anything about it since, right?
No. I imagine it's going to be an early 2016 game. I think we'll see more at PSX, and then
I would be very surprised.
What I was worried about that game was that it's on like every platform that has a touchscreen. So I feel like one or two of those is probably holding it back. Like it seemed pretty much there from the Vita version. Like that's exactly where I want to play that game. I don't want to play that game on iPhone because there was every now and then you'd go to your buttons and you could use them.
You remember buttons?
Because they were there.
I do like
Buttons are
buttons.
real nice.
They're
Have you
pretty
guys
fun.
played any of the Telltale games on Vita? Out of curiosity?
Yeah, I did
No.
all of season 2 of Walking Dead, and it was about 20% of it when it got really heated up was like a slideshow.
Yeah, so I tried to play the first episode
they're
of Wolf
not
Among Us on
optimized.
it, and it just
Well, and it's like I can deal with that because like I'm like I'm flying across the country and I'm playing like a Telltale episodic game on a portable device. Like there's something amazing about that.
Yeah.
But when things heat up in that game, and there's so much action on screen, it would actually freeze and then skip.
Yeah.
So it was like almost like watching a made-for-TV movie.
Or it's like when something buffers and you just like miss part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Where like a character pulls out a gun and all of a sudden it's like, you never told me you. And it's like someone's dead and I'm like, what happened? Did I make that choice? I don't know.
It's funny
like
because they
stuff.
run really well on iPad. So it's
Yes, I don't
not-
get that.
Yeah. I don't know.
So,
But yeah,
yeah,
I think
this-
Vita. I don't think Vita's. I mean, no, Vita's never going to take off more than it is right now. But
Yeah.
I think there will always be that niche demand for it. I think like games like Danganronpa, like obviously all those Spike Chunsoft games like Zero Escape.
Do you know what we need to do? This is the last ditch effort to save the Vita. And it pains me to have to say this, but we should get PewDiePie to do a video
Yeah.
with the PlayStation Vita.
All right.
And all of a sudden the sales would turn around. Do you remember there was this really bad? What was that? It was like Skate 3 that he started playing. Like there was a game that he started playing like 4 years after everybody else, and it like cracked the top 5 sales chart in the
Really?
in the UK
All right,
because
everybody
he did a
tweet
video.
at PewDiePie and ask
Yeah,
him to
tweet
make a
at
Vita
PewDiePie.
video.
Well,
It's
the problem is
at
you can't
PewDiePie.
easily capture video games. You know, you can't have a
I
you
think
gotta
with
get
the
a,
new one you can, right? With
Maybe.
the Slim, because it's finally just it's non-proprietary.
use
It just
PS TV.
yeah, but that's
and yeah, PS Vita TV is really easy. That's good.
so
Yeah, this is a really. It's been a really frustrating story for us to cover as journalists, for us to
Yeah.
cover as gamers.
Well,
Like,
it's they've said both sides of it 100 times.
Yeah.
and so yeah, I think yes, there are Vita games coming. Is kind of the point, right? And a lot of them are third party. Maybe we'll see a first party game. Kind of to some extent, like maybe we'll see an XDev thing or something. Obviously, we're not. I don't think we're going to see from the ground up Infamous or God of War, any of the kind of big things we expected 3 years ago.
No.
But,
what I think is odd is we saw. I remember seeing Vitas at GDC. There were definitely setups there. I
Yeah.
did not see any at E3, which everyone was kind of worried about.
Yeah.
Didn't see any at. I mean, I
were
was
there any on the show floor? I don't think there were any at E3.
No, there
right?
weren't.
not at the Sony booth. There were like
No.
Persona 4 Dancing All Night was there, like at other
Right.
booths.
Yeah.
But,
Sure.
yeah, I don't think Sony had a dedicated Vita section.
But they also had a lot of big. Like, I mean, I think they were really trying to push PS4 there. You know, and maybe it's just a matter of.
I mean,
not
the more
wanting
telling
to,
thing.
fragment the message at all, or nothing at. We didn't know about anything about Paris Games Week. Nothing at TGS really.
Not
Maybe-
even in the conferences. I mean, that's the thing is like
Yeah.
they're not on stage at all.
Yeah.
But there's also all those indie games that are coming to PSN that aren't out yet, like Night in the Woods. I know. I mean, Hyper Light Drifter is, I believe, still coming to Vita.
Yeah, there's a bunch of the
Like-
Day of the Devs thing is this weekend, and there's a bunch of. I mean, there's probably gonna be like 5-10 Vita games there that
Sure.
are also PS4 and PC
And
and,
then
everything else.
PSX would be a great follow up to that because I feel like if there's a place that Sony's going to really kind of be preaching to the choir, but in a good way of just being like, hey, here's why you should have a Vita. It's people who are already on board with the Sony family of stuff. And
Yeah, like I don't mind. I'll put it this way: I don't mind that the Vita's going to basically get PS4 leftovers until it dies. I don't mind. Like that's a harsh way to put it. I don't actually mind because there are certain things like Lego Marvel and Mighty Number 9. I would rather play on Vita. Like,
Same. I mean, I'm in the same boat, but that's the thing. Like, I don't think you're going to see Vita exclusives anymore.
Yeah.
Even the things that were like Gravity Rush or Danganronpa, like they're coming to PS4.
Yep.
Like, it just makes more sense. Gravity Rush isn't even a Vita game anymore, even though the first one was. I think that it isn't worth it. Because if you're making a PS4 game, like, why would you try to make it run on Vita? Like, why bother optimizing it when it's just going to sell so well on PS4 and probably not that well on Vita? But I like that people still are. I'm really, like I was saying last week, legitimately excited for Lego Marvel on Vita. I'll play my number 9 there. I'll still play Danganronpa there, even though it's on PS4.
Night in the Woods, I really want to play on Vita.
Yeah,
totally. It's like
And
that game
Volume
looks like a sad picture book, and I want to just curl up in bed and play it. And
Yeah, I want to play Volume on it because I don't think I would play that on PC or anything. Yeah, I think, it's still a good little system.
yeah.
I still love mine.
Now, here's a big piece of news for you. PS4 sales are now at 29.3 million.
Yeah, and this is now, so it's from their Sony financials this week. That's the shipped number, not the sold through number, which is what they had been reporting up until about July. They were talking about, like, this many were owned by consumers, whereas this is the number sold to retailers. But still, like, I mean, at the end of July, the last quarter financial report, it was at 25. So it's 4 million since then, and surely by PSX they'll pass 30 million. So
I mean, this is a month.
I'm surprised they didn't wait to do that. It's sort of like when I get someone a gift and I'm so excited about it that I have to tell them a few days early.
Well, this was just it was released in the financials, basically. They didn't make a big deal out of it and announce it. I think they'll say it on stage. 30 million at PSX would be my guess. But yeah, it's doing really well. It's outpacing PS2, which had sold just under 25 in the same amount of time. It's not doing quite as well as the Wii, which is at 35 in the same amount of time. But
I can't believe it's outpacing the PS2. That's like the big story there.
Right.
That's
absolutely
huge.
insane.
Especially because the PS2 was basically that DVD player Trojan horse for a while. It was the cheapest DVD player on the market for a while.
And if you needed to break a lamp, the Wii was what you bought to do that.
You
needed something to really mess up your TV.
You want to put a hole in your ceiling?
To hit a loved one and be able to get away with it.
Yep.
The true victimless crime.
If you wanted to feel the infuriating sense of watch somebody else make their own me character for 3.5 hours. They don't have my nose. But yeah, that's huge. But I read some story recently, and I don't have it here in the doc, but about how console sales are down otherwise. So what's going on? Because this seems like it's telling the opposite of that message. But is the market shrinking?
It's weird, right? Because I think, like, probably yes and no. I think there is still a market for home consoles, but obviously mobile is a really big deal. I think there are so many people that are, it's like it goes both ways. I think there are people who are like, oh, I don't want to play console because I want to play stuff on the go. There are people who weren't really traditionally gamers who started playing on mobile, and now they're buying consoles because they do like kind of that multiplayer environment. So I think it works both ways.
There's also the mobile stuff, and then there's the fact that, like, I mean, for a minute, one of the coolest things you could watch Netflix on was like a 360 or a PS3 or whatever. Right now it's like we've got Chromecast and Apple TV and Fire Sticks and all that crap.
Fire Sticks?
Fire Sticks, yeah. You got Devil Sticks, wacky yo-yos, and all the fun new things you plug in the back of your TV.
Yo-yo always seems like a weird. I don't like the word yo-yo.
Okay, I'm sorry I said yo-yo on the podcast.
It makes me. I just like Yo-Yo Ma, and I feel like when I'm actually talking about him.
All right.
It's not an insult.
We're almost never talking about Yo-Yo.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about Yo-Yo Ma anymore.
Yeah.
Point being, I think that there was, if you got a screaming kid who wants to play Angry Birds, and you and your significant other want to watch Game of Thrones on your TV or whatever, and you don't have a cable box or something, that there's other options than throwing $400 at a you can buy you can get a 6-pack of like Kindles or something. You can get like Kindle Fires by like the 5-pack for the holidays.
That's really?
Oh, they were doing
bulk,
it was Amazon's new tablet. They're selling a tablet that's $50. Yeah. And if you buy, it's either 4 or 5, you get the last one free.
Which is great if you got a family of screaming kids.
Yeah, it's just like it's like summoning a spell that shuts up your entire family. Yeah. It's amazing. But you're totally right, because I remember there were people that were using consoles were our dedicated Netflix boxes for a long time, and our movie boxes and stuff like that. And that's not even the case anymore. I didn't really ever think about it like that. So you take all that out of it, and then you take away the sort of mind share and just sheer time that people are spending on their phones rather than in front of their consoles. And like, it's difficult. It shatters the amount of things that you'd be doing in one place. But it actually makes me funnel into my PS4 more, because it's a place where I can go where I'm not as bombarded with the notifications and everything else that like we're part of the Podcast Beyond Facebook group has almost 10,000 people. Yep. The Comedy Button Facebook group has 10,000 people. We all have a lot of Twitter followers. Like, we get tons of emails on personal emails and blah, blah, blah. It's first world problems. But all of those things find their ways into your phone or your tablet. And on my PS4, I kind of keep that stuff away. You know, it's basically just movies and games. So I don't ever want to see that get completely shattered. You know, I think it's important to have these places where you play a game. Like video games started as arcades basically, which are these behemoth-looking monsters that sat in a room and did one thing, and they commanded your attention. And you went over and you hunched over it, and you lined up a bunch of quarters and you played on it. And it, you didn't get text on it, you know, you didn't get emails on it. So
no, I mean,
yeah.
I like the
Long
fact
live
that
consoles.
I can't check my email on a PS4, but if I do something really weird with horse poop in a video game and I want to show that to a bunch of people, there's a button I can push and it goes to my Twitter. But I don't have to be like, I'm not like refreshing a feed or anything.
There is that one-way street kind of stuff, which I really like. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's the philosophy behind different machines is kind of fascinating. I think it's kind of garbage to be like, oh, like the console sales are down. It's like, well, what the hell is a console in 2015 anyway?
yeah,
What are you going to do with that?
yeah. It's moving the goalposts a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I say my last name for a minute. They say gold.
Moving the gold farms.
Gold farms. Okay.
I perked up.
105 new games have been added to PlayStation Now.
And they're like all Capcom
I don't
games.
mean that they added them right this instant. I mean they added the streaming service. That is anyone using that?
No.
Yeah.
No, that's
mean,
the weird thing. And
Here's the weird thing about it. It works from like freaking everything. Like it works from some like smart TVs.
Yeah.
You can use it with PS Vita TV, which is only like $50 on sale a lot of the time. So it's like in that way, it's kind of interesting. If like for some reason you just don't want a PS3 or PS4, but you really want to play Beyond Two Souls or Resident Evil 6 or whatever, like
Well, it's like you remember when your iPad 1 got slow and you were like, the future sucks. Like we have this thing that I wanted my entire life, which was hundreds of games in space.
Yeah, man. It's
at my
Sega
fingertips.
Channel.
It's Sega Channel.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't use it because it's like maybe kind of hard to set up, or like I read a bad news story about it when it first came out that it was kind of slow or like stuttery, and I don't use it. But I'm sure there's some cool stuff there.
I mean,
Yeah, it's $20 a month. You have it's now like a lot of games.
I think the smart thing for them to do would be, especially like in like December, January, would be to sort of package in a free month or two with PlayStation Plus. And be like, hey, this is how like try this out. A lot of you haven't. And people
There's
would be
a
like, oh man, look at all these games here.
You can get a 7-day trial for free, which is like I guess enough to try it, but it just doesn't. I don't know.
I would say the reason they haven't done that is that it's not up to par yet. Like
Yeah.
I think that they're still kind of stress testing it and kind of building out the library, and maybe we'll see something where they're like, hey, this is now there's a second tier of PlayStation Plus or whatever, whatever the hell they wind up doing with it. It's ready, it's like it's,
Yeah,
when
but I'm
it's
also
working.
worried that it's just going to be like PlayStation Home and never go out of beta. And
That's
just
also
be canceled.
possible.
I have a weird, and this is probably like a psychological quirk, but I have a weird like disconnection with playing a game that I don't own in some way. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys.
I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah, like I mean, streaming a console game to me that isn't tucked away on my system digitally or on a shelf in a case, like
It
feels like renting an experience.
It feels like playing at your friend's house.
Yeah,
and you're not sure if
yeah.
your sister's going to come in and f up your save file.
That's exactly it. And
think-
it shouldn't be like that. It's totally and it's like like pack rat mentality, or like basically being a kid and just having games that were tangible items.
I think it's different. Like, it's not for us because even aside from the fact that like we work here and get games, like I think if you think about it, like we're adults with jobs and we can buy a game if we want it.
Right.
Like for $20, like if you don't have a lot of money to buy games, if you have PlayStation Plus and you have $20, $20 a month, you have access to like 100 games. You can try them if they're bad. You don't have to play them, and you didn't waste $60. I think like in that way, it's probably appealing.
Yeah.
So
Or like just games you missed, like just a backlog of like here are 20 Capcom games I never had a chance to play.
conversely, I think there's also that there's that difference between like the McDonald's menu and the In-N-Out menu. You go into In-N-Out, there's like 1, 2, or 3, or ABC or whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
You go to McDonald's and there's like it's like a Final Fantasy crafting screen or something. What the hell am I looking at? And I think that there's that like choice is actually kind of overwhelming after a certain point. If you buy a game and you get a physical copy of a game and you take it home, and I mean we can all kind of vouch for this as having here's a game you got for your birthday, and it might suck. It might be Alfred Chicken or something, and like but you would play that religiously because you had it and it was a game.
Yep.
And I find myself like nowadays, like Netflix, we get new movies all the time, constantly. And I cannot remember the last time I sat down and finished a movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm just like, yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. I have the Blu-ray, but screw it. It's right there. I'll hit a button and it comes on.
Well, because when you were a kid, you'd go to the video store and you'd spend 45 minutes renting a game or a movie, and you'd go home and you had to love it because it was either that
You
or
spent some money on it.
or stare at a wall.
Right.
You know, like that was your only choice. But now, yeah, we have that freedom of choice, and it's almost overwhelming to the point that it's boring.
Oh yeah, no, I
where I'm-
downloaded Grow Home and I played that for like probably an hour.
Yeah.
And then I was like, eh. And if I had paid money for that game, I'd probably feel compelled to actually keep going.
You would
but
finish
I was
it,
just
yeah.
like, yeah, you know, whatever, nothing to stake here. And I'm completely turned off of PlayStation now on that very basis. That like, there's no gun to the back of the head, kind of being like, yeah, you made an investment here, now you've made your bed, now you got to sleep in it.
It almost feels like when. I don't know, I guess whatever, it was illegal, but I don't really care. When like we all downloaded like an NES ROM for the first time in like the 90s or whatever, and it was like, oh my god, I have every NES game. It was like, but I'm not going to actually, none of this is going to mean anything to me because I'm going to play 35 seconds of Tecmo Super Bowl before I jump into Contra, before I jump into Castlevania.
And if a game pushes you away immediately, you're going to delete it or never play it again.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing. That was my problem with Rare Replay on Xbox One. Is like I was like, oh my god, there's so many great games in this, and I played all of them for 2 minutes each. You know, and it's just that weird.
Well, most of those
Quickies with Gold Farm.
Quickies with Gold Farm.
most of those games are not great games.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. It's really
IGN.
legitimately like yeah. Thanks, Marty. I jokingly say write in a lot, but seriously, if you like religiously use PlayStation Now, I would love like please write in or tweet us or whatever. Like I would just love to hear if you really like this service. I'm just legitimately curious on like what you like about it and what your kind of use case is and why it's a good fit for you.
I almost wonder if like if someone hopped into, maybe they were a 360 gamer and they bought a PS4, like would this be the smart way for them instead of being like, well, go back and pick up Uncharted and pick up the Infamous and stuff like that, almost being like, well, maybe just spend $20 a month on this thing and then go back and
do it for 6 months and
dabble
then kill
all
it
of them.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
if you got a fast enough internet connection.
I mean, it's definitely cheaper than buying the HD, remake of Uncharted and The Last of Us and everything else.
So yeah, it's not obviously not aimed at us, but yeah, if you use PlayStation Now, if you like it, please write in.
What's that email address?
Beyond.
It's actually just one Beyond.
One single beyond at IGN.com.
That's right.
Cool.
Hit us up.
We love emails there sometimes, unless they're about dogs, and then everyone gets mad at me for bad contest rules. Here's a fun thing, sort of. The Uncharted soundtrack is coming to vinyl.
Yeah, just a quick thing. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I just think it's worth mentioning. I Am 8-Bit is killing it with vinyls recently. They did those Banjo-Kazooie ones. They did that FTL one.
They did Journey, didn't they? Was that them?
Yeah, I got the Journey one on my desk. It's gorgeous.
That said, I would absolutely not want the Uncharted soundtrack to. I mean, it's not a bad soundtrack. I wouldn't want to listen to that. It's also just.
Do you listen to the Star Wars soundtrack?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I can't listen.
I had a
and
cassette
I
tape.
love that.
I had a cassette tape of Empire Strikes Back, which some of the weird kind of B-side tracks, like the Hoth battle and stuff, or like where it's like a little bit more like, I don't know this one. Those are kind of cool, but like
I have the CD box set of the original trilogy that has like this vertical book in it. That when I was home in New Jersey for New York Comic Con a couple weeks ago, my mom was like, "Take this back to California," and I'm like, I don't even have like a place to play these, nor do I like. Like I don't want to just like clean my apartment listening to like.
So that said, like I love soundtracks. I listen to a ton of soundtracks. John Carpenter's stuff is frequently on repeat. Tangerine Dream. There's a lot of stuff I really do enjoy. Something about like really big bombastic soundtracks just don't work for me, and Uncharted very much falls in that category. It's also got that stupid Vuvuzela noise.
For me, it's honestly, I'm a fake vinyl boy. Like I buy them to display them. I would frame that journey.
Apparently how a lot of people do it.
I don't even have a record player.
Fake vinyl.
I'm a fake vinyl boy.
A real fake vinyl boy.
Yeah, I mean,
but I would really like legitimately like I buy these because I just think they're pretty. Like the Hotline Miami one is incredible.
The box set is gorgeous. It's absolutely, the art is absolutely stunning.
Yep.
It's really cool. Musically, I think that fits perfectly within the world of that game. But like when I'm chilling at home, like I don't need to hear the music from when the car chased Nate down that alley. And flipped over.
Hey, so I'm playing Uncharted 1 right now. Like everybody else apparently was playing cool games, and I always felt left out. So I was like, I'll check out a cool game. I'll check out the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. And I downloaded it. I was like, screw it. It was Friday night. I was home alone. I was like, I'll play a game. And I'm like, I should really just start at the beginning, which is really not really recommended. Like Uncharted 1, really good game. It feels kind of dated. It definitely feels.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
It feels like a little bit of a trudge. I feel like that almost seems like blasphemous to come in here and say that, but like.
No, it's okay.
No, I mean, like
go back and.
Uncharted 2 is the one I'm excited to replay in that collection.
Yeah.
I love Uncharted 2. I really like Uncharted 3 also. I do think Golden Abyss is a better game than Uncharted 1.
I would agree. They were figuring out so
that.
much. Like with Uncharted 1, you got to think that this is Naughty Dog playing with cell processors for the first time. Like they were like, okay, PS3, let's see what the hell this is. And like some of the water in that game is incredible. And I mean, I'm looking at remastered, obviously, but they're also climbing.
It's also
like, had any games done climbing like Uncharted before that?
No. I mean that was that was right in the like
Assassin's Creed
AC1 sort of.
It's tough to say because we got so many games like that within just a few year window. Like there was like the Saboteur and then Assassin's Creed and just all these things happened within the same few years. But like tonally, Uncharted was different than anything Naughty Dog had ever done, which is like the really sort of like. That's the kind of more interesting lens to look at it with at this point because I'm with you that like as a game. I feel like it's sort of like watching a very like CG heavy action movie from 2003.
Well, it's almost
like the Rundown or something. Like,
where you're kind of like, oh well.
I feel kind of bad because the only reason, like Uncharted 1 in a vacuum, if it was the only game they ever made in the series, is a great game.
Yeah.
But the problem is like now with the advantage of hindsight, comparing it to Uncharted 2 and 3 and The Last of Us, like it doesn't stand a chance because like obviously those games are better because they had so much longer and they did the system better and they had longer to kind of perfect that formula and the team grew and all of that. So like Naughty Dog is so incredible that it's almost this unfair thing where like you go back to their older games, you're like, well, it's not as good as the one they made 5 years later.
It almost feels like the an episode of like the Young Indiana Jones TV show compared to like some of the really good Indiana Jones movies where you're like, well, this is like a whimsical like start of the journey, and by 2 and 3 you're like, man, that got kind of dark.
It also feels like they're kind of padding it. Like there's a lot of systems in there that they were kind of trying out. Like you get your occasional like rope puzzles, and you got to push the thing, and you got to shoot way too many dudes. And then you get to like a jet ski part, and you're like, this is really cool. I'm in a jet ski and I'm going up little rivers and stuff. Yeah. And it's like I'm like, but why wasn't this like closer together? And Uncharted 2 is so good at that, at feeling like you're actually moving along, and this is like you're in a jungle. You got to shoot a guy, move a thing, shoot a guy.
Yeah, Uncharted 2 rarely sort of stops to go like, okay. But I feel like Uncharted 1 has a little bit more of that. And it's
That's
also
why I love 3. Like my favorite moment in 3 is when it's like the end of the whatever mission and Drake just comes home and like lays in Elena's lap. Well, no, I mean it's just such a nice human moment. I just love that scene.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that probably haven't played it yet. They're waiting for Christmas time.
Worth
Not
playing around with.
They do a kiss.
I do love that there is
there's a kiss with their mouths.
There is a very consistent theme in the Uncharted series.
Yeah, and
it is that trucks hate Nathan Drake. And that there's always a truck coming to get him.
And that Nathan Drake is a mass murderer.
Well, there's that too.
Hundreds of
but really,
like
it's just like his one nemesis is just trucks. There's that first part in Uncharted 1 where that truck pulls up and you're on a pillar, and maybe the jumping's a little bit wonky in that part, but they're just shooting at you, and you got to shoot this one. They're like,
which is
you want to go shoot at that man over there on that waterfall? Okay, good. Should I get out this big drum of gasoline from the back of my truck? No, it's cool. Just leave it there. We're just gonna shoot one dude. What could go wrong? And then you're just like, and then there's like the 3 levels where a single truck is chasing you through Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
And then they're like, fans of the series are gonna be happy to know that the titular villain from Uncharted is back. I know it's not titular, but the truck that hates Nathan Drake is back for revenge.
But in Uncharted 4, he finally conquers the truck and drives it. In Uncharted 4, you got some truck driving.
That's spoilers for people who didn't see the second half of that demo.
There's still some other trucks that want you dead during that scene.
The truck's brother is going to come back to...
Voiced by Troy Baker.
All right.
We have some events coming up.
Oh, boy.
BlizzCon is like 3 days from now.
What's BlizzCon, Andrew?
BlizzCon is this incredible, gigantic...
I bet some people don't know what BlizzCon is.
No, I'm just saying, I feel like you asked him like you didn't actually care.
I have to cover this all day Friday. What the hell is it?
That's like when a dad's like, what's a Pokemon? Here, just take the wallet.
What are we waiting in line for?
Get out of my face.
BlizzCon is kind of like what PSX is for PlayStation. It's for all the Blizzard games. It's owned and operated by Blizzard in Anaheim, where their headquarters is, and it's really fun. I went 2 years ago with Leah. I don't even play that many Blizzard games, but I think that show is really, really cool. And
this entire
so
one is all dedicated to Candy Crush this time, right? It's
that's right, the whole thing.
5 full days
crushing
Candy Crush.
I want to say this: like, whenever you have a convention that's like, the more focused a convention is, I think the more happy it is. Like,
it's so great.
Like Star Wars Celebration.
Oh my god.
Really, just about Star Wars. It might be an Indiana Jones or two there, or like some ironic Trekkies, but like,
and I got the Star Wars Celebration. I remember looking around, being like, "Man, this is a lot of Star Wars." And then after the 3rd day, I was like, "This is a lot of Star Wars." It's really cool. And I feel like you go to Comic-Con now, and you're like, it's just kind of like, hey nerds, what do you like? And you're like, well, I like The Walking Dead and I like PlayStation. They're like, yeah, well, here's a My Little Pony, and they're gonna stand in front of you in line somewhere. And I'm
big
right.
kind of multi-purpose conventions are like going to music festivals, and you're like, there are 3 people. I want to see AC/DC and Daft Punk. I don't care about anybody else, so I've got 2.5 days of stuff I hate.
Yep.
And then, I mean, if you go to a very focused thing, you're like, I'm going to go see this show of this band I like, and they're headlining it. It's great. And maybe the opening acts aren't so great, but there it is.
That's why Emma WattCon was so popular.
Emma WattCon, the world's #1 Emma Watson convention.
It was very special.
She actually hasn't been to for the 5th year in a row.
Thank you guys for all coming to my living room for that massive convention.
Apparently, she has a restraining order against the WattCon contributors. Is
10
what they
points
call
for
themselves.
Gryffindor. But
conquest.
BlizzCon, it's cool that they do that. I haven't cared particularly for any Blizzard properties since like Warcraft 2. But
well, and that's the weird thing about it. Like, it's
so.
almost funny to mention on this show because obviously 99% of the stuff at BlizzCon is PC. But of course, Diablo 3 and then Reaper of Souls came to PS4. So if there is some kind of new Diablo announcement, new expansion, that would be announced on Friday. And then I don't know, like thinking outside the box, like we were talking about this earlier, like Overwatch could theoretically come to consoles.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people play Overwatch in the office and it looks real exciting.
Overwatch, looking at this, the beta just happened. It is one of those fast-paced PC shooters, but it doesn't look too fast-paced to be doing it on a console.
Yeah,
and I mean, if this was last gen, the thought of a PC game coming over to PS3 just for the hell of it, I don't know, not so much, But this time around, it sort of seems like it's kind of even footing in terms of hardware.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those probably not, but it could situations, right? Like I feel like it could, which is why like I can see why they would want to. I mean, maybe they'd wait till after it's out in PC, because obviously Diablo had a big gap before coming to PS3, PS4. But
is this the year that the 10-year-old rumor of World of Warcraft coming to consoles finally happens?
Yeah, who knows, right? It's interesting. There's weirdly rumors about StarCraft Ghost. None of them are founded on anything, but very long time ago, there was a game called StarCraft Ghost that never actually came out. It was a third-person game. I played it at E3 2004 on GameCube, I believe.
You played it?
Yeah.
He thinks he played it.
It was 11 years ago.
Are we at a playground right now?
Yeah.
Because
my dad works at
just,
Nintendo.
Yeah.
A lot of people think they played a lot of things on GameCube.
But no, I think I don't think that will happen either. But I don't know. I just wanted to briefly mention BlizzCon because who knows, right? I think it's kind of cool that, like you were just saying, like this generation, that stuff can happen. Like you do see games like that on PS4. I think it's kind of cool.
So for the fact Friday morning at 11 a.m.
is the keynote, which is where
11 to 12
90% of the news will probably come out.
Well, the fact that Diablo did come to current gen consoles and seemed to do pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't think Overwatch is that much of a long shot, especially given that it's a shooter and people seem to like shooting things on consoles.
And it's been a couple of years since they announced Reaper of Souls, so who knows if there would be another Diablo expansion. I mean, this would be the place to announce it. So
remember Rock and Roll Racing?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were cars with attitude. They should come back.
Yeah, that would be great.
I agree. PSX is coming out too.
Yeah, much more relevant event, obviously PSX. Yeah, that's December 5th and 6th. We're about a month out. Pretty exciting. It's right in our backyard.
Yeah,
not literally. It's not like you do have a pretty big backyard, actually.
That's not my backyard. That's my building's backyard. Oh. I live in San Francisco. I don't have a backyard.
A cute
no one
backyard.
does.
I'm glad we're
Full House
getting
was
here.
a lie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to go over some of the sort of because the thing with PSX is it's also probably going to be paired again with the Game Awards or the Video Game Awards or the VGXs or whatever they call those.
Which is where we haven't really heard anything about those, right?
Keeley tweeted out that they're happening, but he hasn't given specific details. So I imagine like this PSX is a Saturday and a Sunday at the beginning of December. I imagine the VGX or whatever they are will be that Friday.
Last year,
yeah, and last year in terms of PlayStation stuff at the VGAs, it was there was that No Man's Sky sort of like concert thingy, and then there was. There's Phantom Pain stuff, there's Until Dawn stuff, a lot of Nintendo stuff. But then at PSX, we got the first look at that Uncharted 4 single-player demo. That was sort of the open, running through the jungle and killing dudes and punching them in the face. We got the Chalice Dungeon stuff from Bloodborne. Street Fighter V finally got confirmed. We saw David Jaffe's Drawn to Death, which we haven't pretty much seen in the last year.
He's had a very open development with that.
Yeah.
Shown bits and pieces
That was all
here
at
and there.
PSX last year?
That was all at PSX.
Wow.
We got
it's Drawn to Life, isn't it?
What?
Isn't it Drawn to Life?
Pretty sure it's
Drawn to Death.
Yeah, it's
Drawn to Death.
Drawn to Life is
that's a charity.
an
that
indie game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, it's David Jaffe.
Fair point.
Yeah. No,
it's Drawn to Death sounds way better.
It's funny because Drawn to Life is a hand-drawn platforming game where
That's
you
like
can basically...
he's the maker of such popular games as Curled Metal and God of Getting in a Disagreement. Gosh of War.
God of Mediation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had then there was a Final Fantasy VII, that PC announcement that trolled everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Which still hasn't happened. The PC version coming to...
Yeah, it came to iOS, but still not PC,
and then smaller stuff was like Day of the Tentacle and then Kratos in Shovel Knight. So I want to talk about what we think we're going to see this year.
I mean, the interesting thing is last year they outed during a panel at PSX, not during the keynote, they outed very casually just mentioned God of War for PS4, and then that's never been officially... They kind of backpedaled, and that's never been officially announced. I feel like this would be the place.
Yeah.
If there is a full PS4 God of War game, I feel like now's the time.
And we know Santa Monica's been working on it with titular
Cory
Street
Barlog's
Fighter
back.
Cory Barlog.
That's right.
I don't think anybody knows what the word titular means.
No, it's fun to say though.
Last week was literally this week it's titular.
Yeah.
So you think we're going to get a God of War 4 or whatever it's called?
This feels like the place,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because I think a lot of us thought we'd see that at E3 even.
Yeah.
And then,
I was actually expecting this show to be kind of small since they had such a huge year. But the way you lined up everything they announced last year, I'm like, man, they actually set the bar pretty high.
They don't really do small anymore. Like Paris Games Week, I don't think anyone expected a lot out of, and that was a pretty full conference too. Like, I think,
absolutely.
I think we'll get that. I do think we'll get PS4 sales, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see another Uncharted 4 single-player demo? Because obviously at Paris we saw the multiplayer stuff, but is it sort of like...
No,
are they at this point where they're like...
I think that we're going to see...
Radio silence,
I think we're going to see multiplayer in action as opposed to like a cinematic about it.
Interesting, yeah.
Like a little like, hey, here's a match, here's what happens. And then it'll be one of those people like, and here's our guy, Jeff. Say hi, Jeff. And Jeff waves his...
Hold the controller,
Jeff's going to be using his special skill. Oh, it's a mystical. A mystical is a special... Oh, look at that.
Jeff's using his real hands and a real controller that's really plugged in.
round of applause for
like,
Jeff.
Driving those Borderlands demos at like PAX and stuff is like so nerve-wracking. Like,
it's terrifying.
So terrified to make... Like, oh man, I was like... I knew those demos like the back of my hand. I knew everything to do, but I was just like so scared having my hands in the controller. And there was like... We did a pre-sequel demo, had like a really big jump. And like I missed the jump during one of the demos, and I was like, "Well, I'm fired. That's it. That's the end."
I don't think you can get fired for missing a video game jump.
You never know.
Yes, I guess.
Is it like doing the sports in front of a friends?
Sports in front of
Doing the
friends.
sports.
Is it like doing gymnastics for your relatives?
Yeah, it's exactly like when I do gymnastics for my relatives.
Well, a lot of us here have deep memories of that.
We say it for a long time in the spirit of Colin, but maybe Sony Ben's game finally. I mean, they're doing something.
Yeah.
They haven't released a game since Uncharted Golden Abyss. Like, clearly they're working on something. You would assume it's for PS4.
What about that Gabe Logan? Is he coming back?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I don't think so. And then there's a lot of, third-party stuff like maybe Final Fantasy will be there. Maybe I think Far Cry Primal, because
Far Cry Primal
see
would
that
be great.
game like
They are also down the street. Ubisoft is right there. So
Yeah, and like I mean, Final Fantasy has been really good about. There's been active time report at every major event, pretty much. They did one for PAX, they did one for TGS. Yeah, so I think it would make perfect sense to do one for PSX.
Yeah, we never really talked about, we got into it a little bit on this show about Far Cry Primal, but I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to see how they sort of work around everything that's known to work in the Far Cry games that just won't be there now. Like
are the vehicles animals?
Flying,
like it's really interesting.
Grenades.
Hey, you know what totally doesn't seem to fit in a game about cavemen is much of a UI.
Yeah.
I was actually really turned off by the UI in Horizon Zero Dawn Light, whatever.
Yeah.
And it just, I think that, and they always show off games with limited UI because it kind of distracts from the actual visuals. But Naughty Dog's games do a really good job of just keeping that pretty slimmed down and just not putting too much time
I love
on
games
that.
with like minimalist HUDs. It's
HUDs that exist like in the environment themselves, like stuff like
Dead Space is always one of my favorites. I remember like first reading that story or like no one actually tipped me off. I played for a little while and I was like, is that my health?
Yeah.
On my
really
backpack?
cool.
Like that's really cool. My
it's weird, like diegetic UI.
Yeah, I think it's just very smart instead of just like having numbers and text all over the
But also just like there's no like cavemen didn't. They made cave paintings. They didn't really write anything, so having like a menu just seems really kind of counterintuitive.
It'd be interesting if everything was just conveyed in symbols.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah. I think one thing we're not going to see is The Last Guardian. We just got the statement this week, sort of that they are keeping footage since E3 very close to the vest because they don't want to give away story spoilers. So I don't think we'll see anything there. And I don't know.
The next time they show that game, it needs to just be with the release date. Honestly, I feel like they need to just say, "Hey, here's one more stage demo. It's out on blank 2016.
Yeah.
I mean, I could personally watch that bird dog fall on a bunch of
me too,
old
but
crates and drop that boy.
it's just like
Dog getting the bird dog.
Bad dog.
I think after
Bad dog.
about a decade, I think we get it, and it's like at this point, like no one needs to see more footage of that game. Like I think like just tell us when it's coming.
I have ever since E3 have gotten just randomly excited about that game at just totally inane intervals of
Me
my
too,
day.
but it's like
special game.
Yeah.
It's sort of this weird Boy Who Cried Wolf thing where I'm just like
Boy Who Cried Bird.
I
Bird who cried dog.
I was legitimately shocked that they would bring it back without a date.
Sorry, it was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever said in my nearly 7 years at this job.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's a high bar.
Up at noon every Thursday.
That's right.
Okay, so there are games coming out. I love that the PSX is happening right at a time when it's just anything they announce will just make us look at whatever we get for Christmas and go, ugh, I want something new.
Yeah.
Games coming out this week. We're getting into that wonderful time of year. Air Conflict, Pacific Carriers.
Brian's grandpa likes that game.
What?
Yeah, well,
Which one? Because I have one that's like a
feel like-
93-year-old Italian that was
Yeah.
in the Merchant Marines and
Yeah.
he's more of a ship's dude,
Yeah.
and another one that's dead.
This is a Pacific Carrier.
I'm guessing that this is like a World War II game, but I think Air Conflict Pacific Carriers is just like you work as a guy at like a DHL dispatch thing. They're like, now damn it, the box was supposed to get there. I don't understand you. You're across the ocean.
It's like the
What
beginning of
time is it
Castaway,
there?
like
It's
before
supposed
the
to be
plane
there
crash.
by then.
This
yeah.
has been your weekly quasi John Wayne impression.
Yeah, I love doing those.
That was a specific carrier.
Arcade Archives, Icky is the name. Icky? PS4? Okay. Another one of those games that Jared could probably talk about for 45 minutes. Here's one I've been looking forward to quite a lot. Barbie and Her Sister's Puppy Rescue.
Oh,
That's
Otto
coming
was just tweeting about this game.
What a condescending way to reference her family. It's Barbie and her sisters.
Who's
They
like the
have names,
Luigi
like
of Barbie?
Snarby.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like keeping up with the Kardashians, you know? They don't
But we
like-
know their names, right? There's Chloe, there's Bunyan,
Caramel.
Caramel,
Onion Cat.
there's Candy Corn Kardashian,
Scrimshaw.
Padme Amidala Kardashian,
Wiggler. Yeah, so
Emperor
I don't know.
Kardashian.
Yeah, Puppy Rescue. If you want to find out how Barbie and her sisters would take care of a sick dog, you
At a
can
puppy
get.
mill.
What if that game's like really dark and their puppy's really sick and you have to like take it to the vet?
Yeah.
I want to see what a Barbie game looks like in 2015. That's coming to PS4. Apparently, that's just retail. It's also going
It's
to be
coming to PS3, not
PS3.
PS4.
or PS3. Sorry, yeah, of course.
It's probably coming to PS2 as well.
Vita
I
exclusive.
think it was on Wii at E3 this year. I think that was one of the 2 Wii games that they had.
Barbie and her sisters.
Yes, Barbie and her sister's Puppy Rescue.
And her sisters.
Sisters. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. For those of you who are mad that we've been talking about Barbie for 3 minutes, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is coming to PS4 and PS3 digital retail.
And her sisters.
Yeah, Black Ops 3 and her sisters is out. That's 11/6.
This is on Friday. When can we?
That's Friday.
Do you know?
I really respect Activision. Just like it's kind of standard that games come out on Tuesday. I think usually it's like they make sure they ship them on Mondays and then Tuesday hit the street date or whatever. But having a Friday release for something like Call of Duty makes a ton of sense. So
Yeah.
people
But
are like,
also,
Call of
I
Duty
didn't
makes
know
it-
this. I was just tweeting about this recently. Albums come out on Fridays now.
Yeah, that changed like 3 months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with digital.
So
Like-
I think it's just becoming standard anyway.
Yeah.
And,
I
like
think, it's
Nintendo
a
games
good
come on
thing.
Sundays.
It's a good thing. Like you get off of work, you have the weekend, or
Yeah.
you call out for the day.
Makes more sense. But sorry, what were you saying?
No, so by the end of the week, we'll have Brian Alberts reviewing the game. We'll have our review, a bunch of coverage. We'll probably
good.
show Cool Zombie.
Yeah, there's
with
a
Jeff
robot.
Goldblum's in that game.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't like that they're
no.
Ron,
This is
Ron
it's,
Perlman too, right?
Yeah.
what a man. What a weird fall. Like this is such a weird time for this. Like it's so bizarre to me that there's a Call of Duty game coming out this week.
See, that's how I felt about Assassins also. And like I'm playing Syndicate, I like it, but
Yeah.
it's just this weird thing where like in addition to like Battlefront and Fallout and all these things we've been talking about, like I keep forgetting that all the normal staples are coming
And
too.
Halo just happened.
Yeah,
Like,
it just I almost forgot about Call of Duty and Assassins because I just obviously they come every year, but I just somehow they slip my mind.
I don't have a ton of friends anymore. I could have ended that sentence halfway through.
I'm your friend, buddy.
Shut up. Beyond that are still really into Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You know that like play multiplayer
Oh my god!
competitively all the time.
When I go home, like the friends that like when we all kind of come back for Thanksgiving or whatever, like all of those kids are Call of Duty
Yeah.
kids. Like I have so many college friends and friends from home that are still like very excited for Black Ops.
Like everybody I know right now, like is either they're still playing Halo, or they can't wait for Fallout, or they can't wait for Star Wars Battlefront, but Call of Duty is going to be at the top of the MPD for like the next year.
Yep.
It just always is.
It does
so.
fine. Everyone always groans when they show a reveal for it, but a lot of people love it. So
I
there
agree
you
with
go.
Mitch. I think this is the year. I think Battlefront will outsell Call of Duty.
Okay.
Really?
What about
Interesting.
Dragon Fin Soup coming to PS4, PS3, and PS Vita?
And her sisters.
Stop it. Yeah, I don't know anything about Dragon Fin Soup. Ryan Clements was getting chased by the cops, so he wrote a real short thing about the drop this week.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like Ryan Clements
in the comments. He was
He was
like,
probably being chased by the cops to
he
get
was
like
like,
a peace medal or something.
I'm traveling.
the Ryan Clements that I
They
know.
were like, "Sir, you dropped your wallet." And he's like, "I've got to go do more work over here and be polite."
The Ryan Clements that I know would have he would have written pages on Dragon Fin Soup if he gave him the chance.
Probably.
Oh, I miss
Dragon
Ryan reading.
Fin Soup? I love Ryan Clements.
Yeah,
He's
I
the
miss him
best
reading
man.
like PSN descriptions. And stuff.
Ryan, come to Beyond.
Yeah, Ryan, come on Beyond.
yeah,
I would love that.
that'd be
Everyone
fun.
tweet at Ryan. Tell him to come on Beyond.
That's at Plum Cider. Be like, come on Beyond.
Yeah, come on,
Come on,
And just-
Beyond.
yeah, don't. If you put a comma in there, it makes us look weird.
Come on, Beyond.
Evolve Ultimate Edition is coming to PS4 retail. So if you missed out on Evolve and you want to play it, there it is. Indivisible Prototype Beta. I don't what? Okay. I'm
keep
not
going.
sure if that's a beta or if that's the name of the game. They could have named this game better because it really.
That's the name of the game is Indivisible, and this is a prototype of a. It's
you
like
sure?
a sketch of a sketch.
I think it might be
I
an
don't think any of
Indivisible
that's true.
Prototype.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. That's coming out.
You and I
Here's
played
something, Here's something I
Indivisible.
actually want to recommend. Jackbox Party Pack is going to PS4 and PS3 retail. Telltale's publishing it.
Yeah.
That's been out digital for ages. That's a
Wait, what?
really,
Telltale's
really
publishing
good.
It's a Telltale game.
No, Telltale's publishing it.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
It's funny
sorry.
you don't know Jack
Jackbox
guys.
will remember that.
If Indivisible is the game that we played, then you actually might be right. This
Thank
is the
you.
prototype.
Hi, welcome to the video
Because
game
it has
industry.
an indie. Yeah, there's an Indiegogo. If this is that game, this is from the Skullgirls guys. Is that what
I
is it?
think.
If we're talking about the right game, they have a prototype. They're doing an Indiegogo campaign. It's actually kind of interesting. It's like an action RPG.
Yeah, we liked it.
with like fighting game elements almost. It's really really cool. Yeah, we played it on PAX.
Yeah.
That's real interesting to have that. Like, it seems odd to have a prototype beta of
They
an indie
made a
game
prototype
on PS4.
because
Yeah.
they're crowdfunding it.
Right. But that seems kind of groundbreaking if that's the case.
Yeah,
If that's what this
PS4
is,
especially.
If it is a science fiction game called Indivisible Prototype Beta,
then
We
we're
apologize.
Wrong. Yeah.
yes,
Then we're way off.
that's what it sounds like to me, though.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say a thing about the thing after the thing you're going to say next.
I was gonna say, Jackbox Party Pack. If you want to have a really fun, dumb trivia night with your friends, that game is super fun. You
Yep.
basically, if you got a smartphone of pretty much any sort that's got a browser on it, you all connect to the same Wi-Fi network and use your phones as controllers,
Yeah.
which is great.
Genius.
There's
Yeah.
like a little Pictionary mini game. I love that game.
Yeah,
That's like
super fun.
And
regular
how
like that.
cool is it that Telltale's publishing? I think that's awesome.
No,
Good on them.
that's real smart.
Yeah.
Lords of the Fallen Complete Edition for PS4.
Yeah,
coming to
it's one of
retail.
those games that was like a perfectly adequate Dark Souls sort of
Yeah.
ripoff, but now with Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 on the horizon, it's sort of
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you talk about forgetting games are coming out. This next one, I cannot believe this is out, and I had no idea.
Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had absolutely no idea that was coming out this week.
yeah. Our review's up.
Did you read the quote about why they released Tomb Raider when they did?
No.
Which is sort of just like, well, if we went the week before, it's Halo, and if we go the week after, it's Call of Duty, but the week after that is Fallout. So we'd put it right here because, it's so hard, guys. It's just you don't even know. So I feel like they just like, I guess they looked at the calendar and they were like,
Pick your poison.
here, here it goes.
I think that really it's like the difference between Fallout and Tomb Raider is like if you want to go out to dinner and one person's like, hey, you want to go to a food truck, and the other person's like, let's go have a fancy steak dinner. And you're like, some people, you want to kind of just have a quick bite. You want to have something that's like Tomb
Yeah.
Raider, known quantity. Fallout,
Yep.
that's going to undoubtedly be a big game.
And
so
10 times more time investment. Like
Yeah.
Tomb Raider's probably 10 hours
Yeah.
long. Fallout, you could probably spend 100.
we've talked about this.
So we
pretty
reviewed
extensively,
Need for
but
Speed,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, we did not like it.
And we did not like it.
No.
And that live action stuff does not look great. It's such a pretty game. It's like so weird. Like, just let us drive cars. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just surprised that they would even bother with all that other stuff. And that's like their whole marketing angle.
I don't get all that. Like when people get bored of just the fundamental thing that works so well, is it the people making the games that are just like, what if Tony Hawk could walk? Like, no,
It's always
stop.
that.
Like, I don't want to get
Exactly.
out of my car. I don't want to make a movie. I just want to drive around like a gorgeous landscape.
And
Let
Need
me
for
do that
Speed,
on my PS4.
Those games are at their best when they just let you
Yeah.
drive. Like, I don't know.
I feel like they're trying to tap into the that Need for Speed movie came out, right?
yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
Aaron Paul.
I
It did-
actually
it was-
liked the movie.
You liked
Okay.
it?
I
Yeah,
didn't see it.
it was like a decent Fast and the Furious movie.
Okay.
Well, I feel like they're trying to tap into that kind of thing and be like, hey, what's the story version about cars? How do we get that Fast and the Furious crowd? You know?
Yep.
And
just
apparently
laugh at the
they
next
kind
time.
of missed the mark, unless that one angry guy in the comments really enjoyed the game.
Max,
in which case,
this next name, did you just write random letters?
Norn9 Var Commons. What?
The Vita's saved.
Good news, everybody. There is a hot new Vita game based on 3 different pieces of IKEA furniture glued together.
Wait, so it's NORN number 9
9
without a space, colon, VAR, that's VAR, and then the word commons.
All right.
Is this a game about Common?
I don't know.
This is the rapper Common Sense.
Damn it,
right.
Ryan Clements. You don't give us any information. How else are we supposed to learn about these things? Research? Anyway, Poncho is coming to PS4.
Poncho looks rad.
Yeah.
Poncho's cool. I'm getting a code. I want to play it. It's this really cute looking pixel 2D puzzle platformer where the whole
twist.
The twist is that you change sort of dimensions from like foreground, midground to background. And so it's kind of like Fez, where like you will jump to almost to your death, but then swap into the background and you'll land on a platform.
I feel like you would like to see it a lot.
Have you played Mutant Muds?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally, yeah.
that
Sort of like
kind
that.
of reminds me. That sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game's got really great style, gorgeous art, this like melancholy
Yep.
look and sound to it. So
It actually reminds me a little bit of what was it, Rayman Legends, where you could switch back and forth between foreground and
yeah,
right,
that's
that was it.
yeah. So it looks a lot like that.
Very
I like
cool.
Rayman
If you haven't played
Legends.
either of those games, by the way,
Origins
on your
Legends.
PS4, play
Yeah.
Origins
They're-
Legends,
I mean,
and
speaking
also
about
play
games that
Mutant
are
Muds.
better on Vita,
Yeah.
Rayman Legends and Origins are great on Vita. Except the only thing that sucks about Rayman Legends is
Is
that
the
you can't-
touchscreen stuff.
The touchscreen stuff is a little dumb, but also it's basically impossible to get the platinum trophy in that game because one of them is like be number 1 on the leaderboards, and it's like you can't you have to. They have
what? What?
They have a
Why?
daily challenge, and you have to be in the top 10% of that, and it's like. Vita's the one place where you can kind of do it because there are fewer players, but it's not. You're never gonna.
There's
That's
no
pretty
way they
brutal.
still
You
have
could
that
wait
daily
until
challenge.
before they shut off
I
the
bet if
servers.
I went back now, I bet if I
Oh,
went back
yeah,
now,
'cause
barely
of-
anyone's playing.
because of solar flares. The
It's
world's ending.
going to be you and just the weirdest guy.
Yeah.
I'm not giving up that crown.
There's also Shovel Knight.
Sell and sell.
Shovel Knight is coming to PS4 retail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want something to put on your shelf, I know a lot of people are into that.
Shelfle Night. If you
Yeah.
haven't played this game, if you haven't played this game yet, just go play it. Don't be dumb.
Yeah, it's great.
Shovel
here's
Knight
a-
is awesome. It was one of my game of the years, if not my game of the year, the year it came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I maxed it out on Wii U and 3DS at the time. I really want to go back and play it on and get the Kratos stuff because I
Yeah.
haven't played any of the non-Nintendo versions yet.
Yeah,
Snoopy's Grand Adventure is coming to PS4.
So
and her
Understood.
sisters.
So, so Jose is reviewing this, and I asked Dan if
Wait,
I
what?
could review it, and he said no because I never finished my Duck Dynasty review last year.
Wow.
I always have my November ironic review that I take and then never finish.
that one's still
I
hanging over
want to
you.
do a Let's Play of Duck Dynasty with you. I saw that. Also, that game is still $50 on PSN.
What?
I was going. Yeah, that was the highest I've ever heard your voice go. Wow.
It's $50.
I believe so. Yeah, I was looking at that. It is definitely a mostly full-priced game still.
That's more expensive than anything on Duck Dynasty. That show is made of camo and felt and guns.
Those
And
animatronics of those men
bigotry,
are
yeah.
pretty impressive, though.
Yeah.
I thought you said Pikachu and
Henson
I realized you
Workshop
said
pulled all the
bigotry.
stops with them. Yeah.
Wait, so Jose, we're in the heart
Snoopy's Grand Adventure.
of big game review season right now.
Yeah, not
And
on
Jose
Wii U.
Otero, man.
Jose, first of all, he normally does Wii U games, and second of all, he ruptured his elbow or something. So I can understand why maybe he'd have
He's
a free
also
spot
he
to.
deserves a real grand adventure this year.
It's true. Let's give him
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Or let's give him the kind of adventure that only Snoopy can give
And
him.
then-
Smiling happy Jose is my
Finally,
Yeah.
this is the longest drop we've ever done. We like hanging out and talking. I'm sorry if that's upsetting. Tomba 2, the
Yes.
Evil Swine Return. PS1 Classics. It's
Marty got a real cool Tomba plush toy this week.
real good.
Yeah, that game is amazing if you haven't played it. It's this really great Metroidvania from
Yeah.
He said
Whoopee Camp.
The bad pigs.
Yeah, it's about bad pigs.
Dirty, nasty
Yeah,
pigs.
filthy little
get
swines.
Get the Tomba.
Yeah,
get that boy.
put it
Doesn't
right-
he just,
put it right
Doesn't he
there.
belly flop on them? Am I?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and then he eats them.
Real,
It's a really great game. I want that game to come back.
Beats
So
up a pig.
that is awesome. That is a lot of money to spend on games if you have it. Which brought us to a topic that Alex Krauss posted in the Podcast Beyond Facebook group that I asked if he could generously lend to this show because I want to have this conversation with you guys. Being an adult's kind of weird and spending video game money and trying to figure out what money goes where. So he says, anyone else find it funny that people will spend $60 to $100 going out and getting drunk on a weekend, but when you decide to spend or a day, but when you decide to spend $60 in a game that you get 20 plus hours of fun on, suddenly that's a poor use of your money.
Now, I want to preface this by saying that this is sort of a touchy subject because everyone has different incomes. You know, that's a reality.
Of course.
Yeah,
when we
you were in Portland this last weekend, where apparently drinks cost $2.
It was real nice.
You will be hard pressed to find a drink costing less than $5 in San Francisco, and people in Australia right now are ripping out their headphones and throwing them into the flaming spider pit because their drinks cost $8 there.
But I wanted to say, take alcohol out of the equation.
No.
I know.
Do we have to?
bring it back.
That was a really solemn noise.
One of my favorite. I was in a mall food court with Marty before a movie once, and we were late to go up to the movie, and I was throwing away my food, and I had like a little bit of beer left, and I went to throw it away, and Marty literally dove across the table and screamed at me.
Wow.
Marty Gumble.
So anyway, take alcohol out of the equation and pop in anything that you do for fun. Spending $40 to see a movie and eating popcorn and a soda, or going to Max and I had to go to amusement parks and zoos like 6 times in one summer.
It's a long story
for the comedy button, but you could spend a lot of money just basically going a couple rides and buying like a big fun canteen with a picture of a pirate on the side.
I mean,
of
if you live in a big city and want to leave your house, you can spend money. Like, I mean, basically, there's like almost nothing you can do in this city that's I can't remember the last time I had a day where I just didn't spend money.
So I guess the discussion here really is like, let's talk about spending money as an adult and how you justify it with games and how you justify it walking across the street. And for example, there's a place across the street called Merrigan's Sandwich Shop. Awesome place. A favorite, probably some of my favorite sandwiches in the city. It's $13.
And when it opened, it was 18.
18. Was it really?
They had 2. You could buy a half sandwich for 9. The price went down.
Insane. It's $13 for a chicken parm.
Yeah. Okay, it's an expensive
when the sandwich was invented.
But you'd still get an expensive sandwich.
Beginnings.
Goldfarb, I will throw you down the laundry chute. Okay, I don't know if we have one of those here, but I'll figure it out. Food's expensive. There's that whole thing where if you spend money on like life experiences, like travel, food, concerts, going out, kind of just living, they say that it's generally more satisfying than spending money on like physical stuff and kind of just ownership and possessions. I think it's interesting that games kind of fall in the middle here because they are physical things. I mean, for the most part, they're things that you buy, the things you purchase that are for the most part kind of solitary. You do them at home, but they're also things you experience. Yeah. So they fall in this weird middle ground where you want to get the most out of your experience. If you're buying plane tickets to go someplace, you typically don't like fly someplace with a $100 ticket or whatever. You don't go there for one day and then come back. I mean, maybe for a work trip or something. But if you're going to travel someplace, you usually want it to be worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the price of admission, if you're paying $60 for a game, you want it to be really somewhat substantial.
Yeah. There's also the types of experiences of like the type of game that you play through once and it stays with you forever. Like when people are asking me, like, what defines video games to you, or what are video games? Like I immediately start thinking of some of the more like gut-wrenching moments in The Last of Us. And I think about that game as a narrative from top to bottom. And it's a game that I tried to replay in HD the first 3 hours of, and then I stopped. And I said, I like this experience once the way it was. But then there's other games that like I could go back to forever. Like Mario Kart 64 or something like that is one of those games like you could plug in and I would play for a half an hour right now. And it wouldn't be particularly memorable and I'd be laughing for a little bit. But it's not really that same sort of journey, that voyage of like doing something from start to finish. It's just sort of a repetitive experience that I enjoy that I can go back to that's kind of comfort food.
Yeah, it's really weird with a lot of games that like barring my favorites, I can't like vividly remember a lot of games. Like I'll remember generally if I liked them or didn't like them, but
I remember moments.
I remember moments.
Yeah, they're like dreams in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas like certain things, like like the money I spent to go to a Taylor Swift concert a couple months ago, I could have bought a console for. But like I adored that night. Like I will remember that night forever. Yeah. As opposed to like a lot of the games I probably reviewed like last year, I can generally remember what I thought of them, but like I don't have these like concrete memories of them.
It is true. This happens all the time where I'll look at something and I'll be like, that's too expensive. And it's like a game, and I'm like, I'm gonna wait for a price drop for that. But then I took my wife out to dinner on her birthday, and it was like $200, or $220, and I'm just like, 2 people had a bottle of wine, and we split 2 appetizers and had a main course each in San Francisco at a very nice restaurant, and it was a wonderful experience. But then I'll turn around and I'll like log into PSN, and I'll be like, $10.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, I mean, I had that moment buying Uncharted. It's like $60, and I love how people are like, you work at IGN, you get games for free, and it's like, the reality is that I get the least amount of free games that I get anywhere else I've worked because there's a lot of other people here who want to play the games, and it's But if I still like games, and I'll buy them. But that said, I was like, I've already played one of these games pretty recently, and one of them I'm kind of lukewarm about, and I don't know. And I'm like, but it's 3 games for $60. Those are some $20 games. Well, and I was I was on the fence about that.
Well, there's that weird thing. There's like such like terrible uses of money, like taking like an Uber during Surge. I spent $20 to get home. That I could have, if I would have given an extra half an hour, I could have took a $2 bus.
My taxi home from a Halloween party was $27. You know, and it's like, well, okay, but I don't know. My dad always kind of taught me this thing, which was basically like, if you spend a lot of money on something and then you don't use it and you throw it out, like then it's a waste. But if you enjoy it, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and it's that weird like the value proposition of we were just talking about this. Like if you spend $60 and you get Fallout 4. You're going to play it for hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
If you buy Tomb Raider, you might be done with it in 2 sittings, but that doesn't mean it's a waste of money. It just means it depends on what you want. And if you enjoyed it, it doesn't make it a waste.
Like I bought The Witcher, and I didn't get into it, and it's taking up a huge amount of space on my hard drive, and it costs $60, and I look at that like with regret. Because I'm like, it's like, oh, I wasted $60 on this, and I'm more disappointed that I didn't get into it, rather than being like I wasted $60. But it all sort of comes together, you know.
Yeah, reality is video games are really expensive because they're this crazy emergent medium that doesn't like. It's expensive to go to the movies for 2 hours. You go see a motion picture, it's $12, and everyone loves to complain about that. But like, I don't know. It's funny. We take for granted the fact that the price of admission to video games is hundreds of dollars to get the machine that plays them, and then $60, a pop afterwards.
It's ironically cheaper.
It's cheaper than it's ever been. Yep. I mean, that's the weird thing about it. I remember having a PS1 and a Sega Genesis, like buying games for my Genesis for like $88 each, and this was in the 90s.
And McCaffrey just tweeted out an old like Kmart ad or something.
Yeah, I love seeing those.
Mario Brothers 3 for $84.99.
I remember I like saved up money for like 3 months, and I bought like Clay Fighter 33 1/3 or whatever, which is a terrible fighting game, and it was $79, and it was like, or Echo the Dolphin.
Conversely, you can go get a $50 tablet and play Angry Birds or whatever, Clash of Wars or whatever.
Like every now and then, I'll see a lady in first class playing an iPad game that has ads in it, and I'm like, that pisses me off more than anything else. Like, all right, you spent $2,000 on your Sky Chair, but you won't spend $1 to remove the ads. Like,
oh, you could be playing Danganronpa right now if you got a Vita.
Exactly.
She could probably afford a Vita.
I don't tell them that because that's how you get kicked off the plane.
Dancing All Night's available in stores.
Have you ever played a visual novel?
Anyway, it's a sticky thing.
I think there's no real right answer there, but I'm glad we had that conversation.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's worth addressing that.
Yeah, so let's move on to some quicker questions every week in the Podcast Beyond Facebook group, which you should join. I do a little thing called Rapid Fire, where I ask people questions, and
I hadn't seen that.
I ask them a question, then they ask me more questions, and then we try to give them answers, just like Danny Juarez did. Beyond, what is Andrew Goldfarb's morning routine? You live very close to work, so I don't really know what your morning routine is like.
I generally like to wake up, like it depends. Like if I've been up late or whatever, I'll sleep till like last minute and roll out of bed and come to work. But I like to kind of have a nice morning. I like to sit down and like read a bunch and drink coffee and like take time to like catch up on news and all that stuff. So general good morning would be like I wake up, I normally have some coffee, make some simple breakfast like eggs or toast.
You don't shave.
Sometimes a banana with peanut butter.
You find your shirt that looks the most like it's laundry day.
Yep.
Which all of your shirts are like it's laundry day. Which can't be all of your shirts, but somehow it is. What's that one with the dog on it?
Michigan Sun Dogs, 2009.
You remind me of that series of children's books, the little critter.
I don't know what that is, but thank you.
This little woodland critter with some children's clothes on. You just roll out of your little burrow. Oh boy, peanut butter and bananas again. What a treat.
What about the shower with Goldfarb?
Yeah, what's it like to shower with Goldfarb?
Are you a morning shower guy?
Yeah, I shower in the mornings too.
Do you ever shower at night?
Every once in a while, if I come home and feel gross. Like I shower at night during like Gamescom and PAX and stuff.
I do the same. That's one of my favorite showers. Is at nighttime after working a convention and being around just 50,000 just of the smelliest dudes.
I got into a little argument this weekend. Have you guys ever had a beer in the shower?
Yeah.
Or a drink in the shower?
I don't drink beer.
Totally.
Yeah.
or not really.
Yeah.
So
shower
it's
vodka soda.
I've done that, which is extremely dangerous because if you bring a can of beer into the shower, it's like nothing could really happen. But you bring a what?
No, he just
he asked me. Him and his friend asked me this question this weekend. The only time I've ever done shower beers was in one of my New York apartments. I did it with a bottle because I'm an idiot and I dropped it and shattered.
Oh yeah.
I had to like go on a towel and get the broom and like.
I've had those nights where I'm like, I'm gonna stay in and watch a movie, and then like at 9:30 I get a text being like, "Yo, we're right around the corner. Come hang out." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, I better get a drink in as quick as possible and go out and join them. And I'll go into the shower with a vodka soda with like a lime and a straw, and there's like my body water's going into it.
I'm just picturing you with like a shaker.
Like yourself.
You just drink out of the loofah by accident. It's like the opposite of like the waking up late like montage. You're like, oh no,
just squirt shampoo in my mouth and die. Gianni Risotto says, which is speaking of Italy, what's your opinion on the negative feedback concerning the Fallout 4 leaks? Now, you guys probably saw the first 20 minutes were leaked.
Menu
screens were leaked. JPEGs and PNGs of the PC version were leaked. Everybody has.
Did anybody do a graphics comparison of the JPEGs to PNGs?
This is a lossless
The
format.
frame rate on the PNGs is way better.
And I wanted to know what you guys thought about people really like kind of completely judging this thing before it's out, before they're playing,
that's exactly
before
right.
see the
Like,
scope of it.
I think it's dumb to judge it until you see the actual game.
And
like
people have been doing this since E3 when we first saw. I mean, I remember seeing that dog and being like, "That's a weird looking dog," but then you're like, "Well, in comparison to this whole game, which is massive." Like, that's
I feel
okay.
like open world games can kind of get a pass to some extent. Where like if the character model doesn't look great, well, of course it doesn't because it's the game is gigantic, and of course in a game like Tomb Raider it can look a lot prettier because it's short and there's less to it. So
yeah, it's hard to gauge because I don't have any idea how big Fallout is.
Yeah,
I don't know what's in there. Like we really don't know a whole lot about this. I think that it's like this is the kind of vertical slice. Like the stuff that's leaked is sort of like what games. What might have been demoed at E3 this year if they'd announced it like the year before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
speaking of which, we can't really talk about we actually cannot at all talk about Fallout 4, but we can next week. So listen to Beyond for some
and also Jared's show will start.
We're starting. It starts this week, I think.
Yeah, we've called The Vault. We're gonna have a show that Jared's gonna host.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Jared's a real
finally,
nice boy.
Jared
I love
Miranda.
that man.
Yep,
Yeah.
me too.
Jaranda.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Vault. I'm Jared Petty, and today we're looking at the secrets of nuclear Boston. Bobbleheads and dogs and fun galore. I'm looking right at you. I love you, Jared. Charlie Manny says, if you could make a book into a video game, which one would you choose and why? Max.
Dark Tower.
Ooh. We've done this before. Totally. I said Virtual Light. Conversely,
Little Critter.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's.
Critter.
Richard Scarry's books.
Frog and Toad.
Frog and Toad are friends. Hell yeah. Buddy co-op bike riding game.
Yeah.
A frog and a toad. It'd be like a army of two, but with frogs and bikes instead of guns and dudes.
Yeah, mine was Barbie and her sister's puppy rescue, but somebody listened to me. And
Finally, that award-winning novel has finally been adapted into a game.
Eric Dutch Morris says, what's a great entry game to introduce your kids into gaming? I don't know if we've had this conversation
right
before.
now, I would say Disney Infinity in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's actually a really good one.
Norn 9.
Don't stop saying stop it. Stop that. Please stop saying that word. It's
My
not a word.
son's first words will be Norn 9 Bar Commons.
And sisters.
And her sisters.
Damn it.
No, like I've had this conversation with people before about like I've heard people say that they want to raise their children on basically the history of video games. So you start them with like Pong, and then they get to play Super Mario Brothers, and then once they beat all those things. There was actually an article about this recently. I don't know if you guys read this, and the kid is actually really awesome at video games now. So there is some value to this, but on the flip side, I think it's also like raising your kids with leeches instead of medicine.
Let's kind of expand upon this. I think it's like what the Amish do.
Yeah,
where they're like, nope, you got to do it this way. And then the second they're 18, they're like, oh, well, all right, you get Rumspringa. And it's like the kids go out and they get hooked on free-to-play MOBAs, and they're like, woo,
is that what we're
sisters,
calling?
yeah, puppy rescue.
Is that the street name for meth?
They don't know what a real game is. I don't know.
I feel like I'm not a kid guy,
that.
but like I feel like the point should just be like let the kid play what they want. Like obviously not like super violent, awful things or whatever.
Yeah, but stuff to like play with your kids. Like I think some of the Lego games are great.
I love that season of Breaking Bad.
Awesome.
I love the season of Breaking Bad when Walter White took over Gus Fring's free-to-play MOBA empire. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that Disney Infinity is a really good one because it teaches you there's platforming stuff, there's action stuff, there's racing
there's
elements
RPG
of that.
stuff, there's skill
RPG
trees.
stuff. Like, yeah, it's sort of this catch-all for video games, and you get to play as a bunch of different characters. It's kind of a dream game for
like
a kid.
it's easy to look at those games, and I think like maybe the first 2 rounds there was a little bit of kind of nickel and dimey, like buy the toys, get to take the ride kind of thing. Like you got to get more toys to do this, but at this point they've pretty much got a modular platform for new games, and if you buy like the whole kind of basic kit set, whatever, you can buy expansions that come with like 2 new dudes and basically a whole campaign. Like that's what they're doing for the Force Awakens. That stuff I guess leaked or whatever, but it was like that's going to be the first licensed Force Awakens game. Yeah, that's going to pop up and it's going to be like, here you go, and you get to play as Rey and Finn or whatever.
And it's not like cash-in stuff. Like the Star Wars stuff is cool, the Marvel stuff is cool, the Inside Out stuff is super cool.
I mean, you got to throw $90 at it the first time around, I think, and then you buy expansions. But it's like if your kids are into a bunch of different if your kids are into anything that Disney owns right now, which is kind of a little bit of everything, then that's a pretty good option. And if not, there's also Lego Dimensions.
Like I always have this fear that video games are going to sort of ruin the tangible physical toy market for kids.
I'm so happy
I think it'd be really
not.
sad if like kids grew up without toys. And so I think it's cool that these Toys to Life games are sort of bridging the gap between the two.
I mean, conversely, no one in this room has ever knowingly made a babby, so we don't really know what we're talking about.
No one's
but
made a whole baby?
If you've raised a child and you play video games, send us an email at beyond@ign.com and let us know what your child's trajectory through gaming was. Where did they start and how are they doing with it? Matthew Shop has said, have you ever broken a controller because of something going on in a game?
Yeah.
Beyond.
Nope.
Oh,
not me.
No.
Not broken.
I got a good story about this.
Yeah.
I forget if I told this or not. This is a follow-up to my Metal Gear story from a couple episodes ago. The night before I moved to California, I was going to leave, get in the car with my mom and 2 cats that were doped up on cat Valium and drive across country like in The Karate Kid. The night before that happened, I went over to my best friend's house, the one who I played Metal Gear with the whole time, and we're like, you know what? For old time's sake, let's run through Metal Gear Solid. And so we sat down, popped the Metal Gear Solid, and we played almost all of it. And we get to the fight with Metal Gear Rex at the end.
Yeah.
And my friend's playing because I'm bad at that game because it's hard, and I was 14 or whatever. And he's playing on one of those controllers that's like not a Mad Catz, but definitely not a real controller. And it's got a turbo button, which is great for the Ocelot torture scene or whatever. And he's playing with it. We're playing that game, and he keeps getting killed. It's 4:30 in the morning. The sun is coming up. And I'm like, we've got to beat this effing game. Otherwise, I'm going to leave Connecticut unfinished. It's going to be tragic. And it's that same goddamn cutscene where it's got Gray Fox being like, after Zanzibar, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal. And then the monster steps on or whatever. That we died at that a dozen times. And sun is literally coming up. I'm like, my mom's gonna be here at 7:30. We gotta do this. And he just takes a controller after one final time and throws it at the wall, and it explodes. It doesn't break, sort of. It just shatters and explodes, like it's made of voxels or something, and it just goes every which way. And we're both like
Resogun.
Exactly. And he plugs in an actual controller, plugs it in, and beats it first try. And we're like, all right, we finished the game, high five, and I get in the car. It was just one of those.
That is amazing.
What was wrong with that controller?
It was haunted. I love that so much.
Oh my God, that's great. All right, well, we'll leave on that high note. Thank you, Matthew Chapas, Danny Juarez, Gianno Risotto, speaking of Italy, Charlie Monet, and Eric Dutch Morris.
And Alex Krauss.
Yeah,
that was great.
That was a good bunch of questions. Thanks, guys.
We answered all of them.
There's a lot of other ones, what are your favorite porn stars? I can't read those here.
Andrew Goldfarb.
It's Andrew Goldfarb.
Yeah. Quickies with Andrew.
And her sisters. All right.
I'm so
Do you want to do an outro, or are you going to finish your whole bottle of water?
I was having a nice sip of water. It's very hot in here under these lights.
I teed you up to finish the show, and you're just
Thank
like,
you all.
glug, glug, glug.
I had to pee for half an hour.
Okay. Thank you all for listening, everybody. I'm sorry if we talked over each other. We had a good time talking to each other. We have a good time. I'm Max Scoville. You can follow me on Twitter, Max Scoville. With me, Marty Sleeve. I already said that part. He's McBiggity with 2 G's and 2 T's. Brian is Agent Bizzle.
That's right.
And Lil Goldie Old Goldenrod. My little critter is Garfeth.
Someone needs to make a list of all the things you've called Andrew.
I've just been listing you
Every
as the
episode.
wrong name and
Golden Dream.
show post.
Yeah.
Gold.
Golden Shower.
If you want to check out other stuff we do, Brian and I do Up at Noon Live every Thursday at noon Pacific time. We have a fun time doing that.
Yep.
I just recently tried to bring back my a very familiar show. Some of you might know, Study Hall. It's called Cram Session. Search Cram Session on IGN. Look around for that.
Really
I've done one
awesome.
episode. I should have more on the way. Marty, what do you got?
I'm also on our Xbox podcast, Podcast Unlocked, and I just reviewed or re-reviewed, I guess, the Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition for the PS4. If you haven't played that game, it's a pretty decent Zelda ripoff. If you have played that game, you don't have to play it again.
This is no place for a horse.
My album's turning 2 years old in a couple of weeks.
Old enough to drink.
It's not. No, not at all.
Remember what we said about not having raised kids?
A lot of babies bring a nice tall vodka soda into the shower, just smash it on the floor and drink the shampoo instead. It's free to download. It's called Misanthrope, and you can go to misanthropealbum.com and download it. And it works. It goes really well with a lot of PS4 games. People have been tweeting at me recently saying that it's fun to play Resogun with that. So go enjoy it. It's instrumental and it's free.
That's on Spotify, isn't it?
It's on Spotify. It's on. It's on Sony Music. It's on everything.
Yeah,
So on
Sony
pretty much
Music,
everything.
Spotify
Yeah.
thing. So you can sort of play it on your PS4.
Yep.
Check that out.
Yep.
Awesome.
What are you doing?
Golden
Oh,
Farm.
I'm event coverage. We're covering BlizzCon this week. D23 Tokyo. We got a whole bunch of stuff. I just playing stuff.
He's lined up an exclusive interview with Jadakiss.
Yeah, exactly.
Fiddle with this microphone stand. Anyway, that's it. If you guys want to join our Facebook
Why
group,
did you go there? That's so man.
If I had $5 for every time that Marty has arbitrarily mentioned some '90s musician,
He said Jadakiss and comment on this show. I really love you, Marty.
yeah,
man.
well,
love
it's
you
just
too, Marty.
yeah.
Check out Noriega's new album.
Okay, all right, yeah. Just
Creator of
email
the hit
us
song
beyond at
Supersong.
IGN.com and check out the Facebook group. It's facebook.com/group/podcast beyond.
So we had that big debate about starting the show with Beyonds, right? And a whole bunch of people chimed in. And I wanted to say the one that meant the most to me was Cisco. DM me on Twitter to say you should keep that going.
Oh well, yeah,
Wow.
no, totally.
So thank you. That was the one vote that counted the most. Thank you, Cisco. You are awesome.
Also, shout out to my friend Jeff, who listens to every episode apparently, and I found that out like a week ago.
Let's just end
He's
this
no
episode.
Cisco.
Yeah, what
He's definitely no Cisco.
did Jeff help write the thong song at all, or was
No.
he?
Yeah,
No,
he did.
was he at any of the? Was he in the music video for Wild Wild West at all?
Yes,
or
he was. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you all for listening.
Is that a fire
Only a
alarm?
dragon outside.
Goodbye. Good night.
Good night.
Beyond.
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 Cisco.
Jeff.